What's going on, everybody? This is Shamarcus, and this is Shamarcus Talk. And y'all know I have already prepared everyone for these episodes, and I told y'all that we're going to go down the entrepreneurship lane. And I'm going to bring guests on here that are entrepreneurs that are doing stuff and will help you get started in whatever it is you want to do. And guess what? They're going to tell you what not to do, so now you don't have to make the same mistakes that they did. So on today's podcast, I have a very, very, very special guest. His name is Darrell Porter, and he needs no introductions, but I will let him tell everybody what he is good at. What's going on, Darrell?
Everything's good, Shamarcus. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm amazing now that I got to talk to you. You know, we were talking right before the episode started, and like you are one of the people that I listen to. You are one of the people that can what they say, calm me down off the edge. And man, I want to first thank you for that because there's not a lot of people that can help me in that way, right? I'm always helping other people, but that's one thing that's not talked about. You know, people helping you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
do.
so man, tell the people about yourself.
I'm a not a young fella, as you can probably tell. I'm young at heart. I've been around the block 2 or 3 days. I'm not really old, but I'm starting to gray, which is okay. And it does not necessarily mean wisdom. I just throw that out there because a lot of people say all that gray means wisdom. But as Shamarcus said, I'm Darrell Porter. I hail from Memphis, Tennessee, originally, where I grew up, played high school ball, thought I was going to play professional baseball, washed out, and ended up at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff on a music scholarship. Um, from there, I was commissioned in the United States Army, and I served on active duty for just short of 13 years as an infantry officer in the United States Army. Left there as a major. Uh, Never wanted to work for anybody. Had always told myself that I would only work for the government. And here's what I meant by working for the government. Uncle Sam gets all of his taxes, and that's the only one I want to work for. But I ultimately, like a lot of us, held a lot of jobs. Not a lot of jobs. I've only held a few jobs in my lifetime. Once I left the military, which was my actual first job, well, I won't say first job. I did some things as a teenager, but I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I always wanted to work for myself. Didn't want to work for anybody. Um, I left the military and went to work for FedEx for a few years, autonomously running a training program, uh, doing those things. So the Army prepared me to do the instructional design and the training work that I did. The instructional design and training work prepared me to start my own business, which I started in the training industry once I left the military. Well, once I left FedEx, I started in the training industry as a subcontractor, and so I would subcontract with these companies, and they were being paid $128 an hour for my labor, and the max I was being paid on an hourly rate was $70 an hour, which I thought was pretty good. And then anything over 40, I made $100 an hour, and so it was good money. The drawback was it was all off my own pen. If I wasn't doing the work, I wasn't being paid. Okay, and so that was my first jaunt into entrepreneurship. Left there. Uh, I had a couple of contracts. Contracts ended. Found a job because that money only lasts for a while. So found a job. Went back to work. Um, and my second job out of the army, besides the entrepreneurial job, was with the federal government actually. Went to work as an instructional designer and web administrator for the federal government. And note I said instructional designer and web developer. So I had two jobs with one salary. That didn't work. So, and when I say that didn't work, after about 3.5 years, it overwhelmed me because I was doing one job at home and one job on the job. They were both intense jobs, but I still had one salary. The day I walked out when they told me that I could get rid of one of those jobs, but I would have to take a cut in pay. And I said, well, I will take a cut in pay, but you'll have to find somebody else to do both your jobs. So I walked away. People say I had a family to feed, I had all those things going on. And people say, man, you're crazy. My wife would always say, never leave a job until you have a job. And I'm like, no. So, so they, I went back into the consulting world, consultancy in the training world, built my own training company there for a while, for about 3 years. And the next 3 years I spent with a brick and mortar company, had office servers, uh, classrooms, the whole infrastructure, multimillionaire business partners, and all those kinds of things, and left there with $150,000 in debt after the doors closed on a small business loan. We had everything in place but the client. Didn't because we were a startup. A lot of people were not taking chances with startup companies. Didn't matter the skill set. Didn't matter what we brought to the table. And we were stacked. Scientific guys had technical guys, had PhDs, had all kinds of people inside of the business. But at the end of the day, because we were a startup, none of the big people would touch us. 3.5 years later, laid off all my employees. After not taking a salary for 6 months, had to lay off my people, couldn't pay them, devastated those families, and I went and found a job. So worked as a military contractor. Had at one point a number of PhDs in my directorate, and they hated me because the only PhD I had was a public high school diploma. And so working for me didn't sit well with them. But we were a military contractor, and the skill set that I had that I brought to the table was both the cognitive thing that I had been doing all the time, and the military side of it. So, and I know this is kind of long, but I've been around for a few years. But at any rate, that experience ended, and after it ended, I contracted again for a short period of time, subcontracted again for a short period of time with Capital One, actually, writing their dealer services training, doing those kinds of things. Once again, they were making $125 an hour on me. I was making $45 an hour, $80 an hour, anything over 40. Which was pretty good. In 90 days, I made over $30,000. Thought that was pretty good, but I was never home. And that's as you listen to the progression, there's one prevailing thing. I was never home. I was doing a lot of work for a lot of people, making a lot of people rich and wealthy, even not just rich, but wealthy. But my family was suffering. I was never home because all I owned was a job. I left there, went to work for as a IT project manager, and I prayed. I said, God, give me 5 years and let me walk away. Give me 5 years. Let me be able to take care of my family and walk away. I want to go do full-time ministry. Didn't ask to do any pastoral ministry. Didn't ask for any of those kinds of things. Just wanted to be in full-time ministry without a job. And I didn't know how that was going to happen. But 3.5 years later, they called me into the office. My daughter had just started college down in Pine Bluff, actually. She had just started college. 3 weeks after we dropped her off, they called me in the office and said, "We're getting rid of your department." And I said, "Okay. Yeah. Do you have any questions?" "No." "Why would I have any questions? You made your decision. This is your company. It's not mine." But anyway, at the stroke of midnight on January 1, which was the changing of the year, January 1, 2011, I went from $130,000 a year to zero with the stroke of a clock. In 1 minute, I went from money to none. Didn't know what I was going to do. I went out and played golf for a year. Drew my unemployment. Had moved my money over, which was a mistake, by the way. Had moved my money over, paid myself a salary. I paid myself $80,000 a year. I was it was a year and a half actually. I was out before I decided to do something about it, and so paid myself a salary for a year. Drew my unemployment, and so I was still right around $100,000 for the year, and the money started to dry up, and that's the place where it got me to where I am now. So kind of my journey, you know, and I say I'm probably the sum total of that journey, because everything that I've done has prepared me to do what I do now.
Wow. Wow. That was quite detailed. Some of that stuff I knew because, I know you, but some of it I didn't. Some of the stuff we didn't talk about, but that was amazing because that was going to be my next question. Like you've done a whole bunch of stuff, but I want to know like uh how did you get where you are now? Cuz I mean, if that led up to this, what is this?
Well, it was redefining the objective. It was getting back to what I had purported to be all along. I had a lot of waylays, a lot of jobs, but I never wanted one. That was the thing. Had a lot of jobs. I never wanted a job. Never wanted to work for anybody. But I did because I thought it was necessary, and in some cases it is. Don't get me wrong. We have to provide for our families, and we have to do the things that we need to do to provide for our families. If I knew then what I know now, I would have taken the jobs, but in the jobs, I would have been preparing differently, if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely.
So my idea of getting out of the company was building a company with my own hands for myself, which meant that I would become self-employed. And there are a lot of us who want to be self-employed who don't understand that being self-employed simply means owning a job. And if you own a job and you're the sole proprietor, then if you're not working, you're not earning. If you get sick, you make no money. You will still work yourself to death trying to get to that self-employment place. Now, doesn't happen. I mean, there are people who get over that hurdle, uh, but it was not one that I could overcome, because once again, the adage, get a good education, get a good job. Well, okay, no, go get a college degree and get a better job. Well, okay, checked all those boxes. Well, go get an advanced degree, get an even better job. Well, have 2 master's degrees. Check that box. And the proof is, without a PhD, had 42 PhDs working for me. So was that did they get a better job? No, I made more money because I was the guy in charge. You see what I'm saying? And so, and so the redefining was, who do I really want to be? Do I want to be me, or do I want to be what the what society sees as me? Okay, so I had to make that. I had to make that decision. I made it from a biblical place too, by the way, because I was sitting up in this very office, in a chair similar to this one. Wasn't this one, but in this, but almost in the exact same location that I'm sitting right now. And I was crying because I was looking for a job, and I was preparing to speak. And in Exodus chapter 14, I read a story, and that was um, uh, the children of Israel at the Red Sea. And it starts out by saying, God said, go over here to a place where you can't get out of by yourself. That was the first piece that I saw, because I was in a place spiritually and physically that I couldn't get out of by myself. My education wouldn't get me out. My qualifications wouldn't get me out. And like I said, 2 master's degrees at that time, 2 of them, and a portfolio full of great works for a whole lot of people. But that was not enough to get me out of that place where I was. Because I was about broke at that point. Then, as I kept reading, and I kept going, listening at all the complaints that the children of Israel had at God at that point, found myself uh, being the one that was that was a picture of complaining. And then I found myself praying. And down around verse 16 or so, Moses is standing on the rock praying, and God says, "Shut up! Why are you praying? I already gave you everything you asked for." And the light bulb went on. I'm going, hold on. What did he say? The light bulb goes on. You have in your hand everything that you've ever asked for: knowledge, skill, ability, tools, resources, all that stuff's in your hands. So now what do you do with it? Use the tools that have already been proven. Moses had a staff. The staff had been proven even before he got to the Red Sea. God said, stretch your staff out and then go walk across on dry land. Boom, the lightning bolt struck me at that point. Because what did I ask for before I had that last job? I said, give me 5 years. And in 5 years, let me be able to take care of my family and go into full-time ministry. I got laid off at 3.5 years. Year and a half later, how long is that? That's 5 years. And at that particular point in time, I'd run into somebody and said, "Man, you'd be surprised what you can do with a license." And I went, "Huh?" So I went and got a license. I went and got a life insurance license. And I'm sitting up here almost broke, and then it dawned on me, say, you can't be licensed and broke at the same time. You can be, but that's only if you don't use your license. Okay. Uh, Secondly, I got an investment license. So I have 2 tools in my hand, and I'm not using either one of them. I'm still standing on the rock, begging and praying and crying and snotting, doing all those things. And 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 uh and and God spoke. He said, go do what I equipped you to do. And so the light goes on, I change. But the change was, the primary reason for the change was, I had been trying to do it myself. The lesson with the multitude of people is that you can't do it all on your own. Jethro comes later and tells Moses, Moses, you crazy. You're trying to herd cats. You're trying to do all this stuff on your own. Go get you some people. And when you get you some people, then they can handle this and they can handle this and they can handle this. And guess what happens? All the weightier things come to you. Boom, that's how you make money. That's now you've gone from owning a job. When you get that, you've gone from owning a job to owning a business. Because what is a business? Business is something, number one, that solves a problem. It ain't a business if it doesn't solve a problem. Okay. Number two, a business has certain things about it, certain elements. I had been in somebody's circle. The circle I was in made people at the top a lot of money. But I got my position, not me, but my position only got paid a limited amount. You heard that all the way through my story. That my position only got paid a limited amount. It was capped at a certain amount. And oh, by the way, it didn't matter how many jobs I did in that position. It was only going to get paid a certain amount of money. So instead of owning a job, I sought to own a business. Put people in your business, learn how to make 1% of your income off of 100 people, as opposed to 100% of your income off one person, me. When I got that, the light goes on. Now, excuse me, I no longer own a job. I make money whether I'm at work or not. I can be on a golf course and I'm still making money because guess what happened? Guess what's happening? There are other people out there who need money, who are making money, and they're making money because I put them in a position to make money, and because I put them in a position to make money, then I get paid too. A lot of people don't like that. They don't like it. They give it all kinds of names. They call it pyramid schemes and all the blah 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 blah. But they have no idea that in their jobs they're on a pyramid scheme. So anyway, I mean I can wax, I can go and go, but that's how I got here. I got here because things had gone completely sour, uh, and I needed a paradigm shift. My focus needed to be adjusted, and the way my focus got adjusted is I almost hit rock bottom. I hope that answered your question.
Man, it surely did. It actually is leading me to my next question is all the stuff that you did, all of the ups and the downs, like what were some more challenges that you were facing that are like, wow, that was a big challenge. And what did you do not to throw in the towel? Because what I'm learning is um no matter who you are, no matter whatever you're doing, you're going to have challenges, right? And the thing is, even with that, the challenges are some big, some small, but sometimes those challenges make you want to, you know what, man, I'm gonna throw in this towel. I'm gonna just go back to doing whatever it is I wanted to do. So, what were some challenges that made you think about this, and what made you not throw in the towel?
Well, I'm going to tell you, those challenges never stop. First, so
Okay.
if you think it's just one thing, forget about it. It is a continuing challenge to be successful. Period. Because every day I want to quit. I I want, and the thing that is the thing that makes it great is also the thing that makes it challenging. Because as I was on the golf course yesterday and I'm playing with these cats. I'm 67, and guys I was playing with yesterday were all in their 70s. They are 75, 76, you know, and we have a great time. And I call them the old guys, and they call me Junior, which is cool, you know. But But I have one friend. His name is Robert Davis. He's a photographer, and he's been a professional photographer for years. And a matter of fact, all of my professional photos Robert has done. Oh, since I've been here in the Dallas area. Um, and he has this saying. He said, and he tells it in the story. He says, I'm at home. He has some big dogs, and he says, I'm at home, and I'll do something, and the dog will look at me, and then the dog will look at the other dog, and the dog will just say to the other dog, "Humans." He said, "Only humans." That's the problem. That's the hurdle. That is the big deal that causes most of our issues. Humans, because we are programmed to think in a certain way, and we're programmed to non-action. We think it's action. We think getting up, going to work, and being the best guy on the job, and doing all these things is great action, but it's non-action because it doesn't require you to think. It doesn't require you to do anything but repeat your process that they've already laid out for you. But the problem with the process that they've laid out for you is that it only affects you in a very small way, but it affects them greatly. So humans have to answer the question for themselves. Do you want to be part of something that you can build, that you can grow, that can pay your family for, the next 100 years, or do you just want to keep making somebody else wealthy? You have dreams of yachts and caviars and all that old kind of stuff, and but your dream right now is to make somebody else's dream come true and leave your dream on the back burner. That's a hurdle. That's an obstacle that when you are in a entrepreneurial business uh, type of situation, um, you're going to run into people who I don't want to say dependent on, but who you're trying to groom and who you're trying to bring up and who you're trying to move forward, but they fight you at every turn because their idea of security is get up, go to work for 40 hours, work for 40 years, get a gold watch, and then retire for 5 years and die. That's what that is. That is one hurdle. The other hurdle is success. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but success can make you lazy.
He
you,
said
you
success can
can
make
make you lazy.
you lazy.
Yeah. You can get to the point where you don't have to do anything, and you won't.
Mm.
You never revive your goals. You never revive your standards. You never do any of those kinds of things. And you know that if you get up every morning and never hit a lick at a snake, you good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We got you've told me that at least 1,000 times. And you've told me that, and every time I think about it, I have to laugh because he's like, I can hit this. What you say? I can hit a lick
Don't
at a.
have to hit a lick at a snake.
I don't have to hit a lick at a snake and be good, and
Yeah.
that makes me laugh every time. Oh my God. So that actually brings us to the next question. What is some advice you would give anybody that's entrepreneur that wants to somewhat do what you do or wants to just get out there, and they're stuck wherever it is that they are and they're tired of it. What advice would you give them?
Well, a couple of things. Let's just start with how you look at money, how you look at wealth, how you look at um, those things. We look at it, and I'm going to say we, from a cultural perspective, we look at it as um, I well, let me back up. One of the greatest theological statements about money came from the Temptations. I knew you was gonna look just like that.
Tell me more.
Back in the 70s, the Temptations put out a song called "Don't Let the Joneses Get You Down." Here's some of the lyrics to say the Joneses got a new car today. What you should say is hooray for the Joneses. Instead, you wear it till your whole head turns gray instead of hooray for the Joneses. What that means is now what we do is we're trying to make enough to buy enough to impress enough folks that don't know us, who don't even like us, but we want to impress them with our stuff. See, wealthy people don't live like that. They don't, because they don't have to impress you, and they're not looking to impress you. I had a guy. I have one of my mentors said to me, um, the difference between a wealth mentality and a poverty mentality is if I got $20,000 and you got $20,000, we'd look at it totally differently. If you got $20,000, you're gonna go buy something to show everybody you had it. If you got $20,000, you're going to go do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. He said, if I get $20,000, half of it is going into an investment right off the bat. I don't need the money, but I know what the money is going to do. Half of it is going into an investment. And then I won't buy anything until I can afford to buy it. Well, he's a multi-millionaire. He can buy anything, just about anything he wants to buy. If he wants to go out and buy a $200 million a yacht today, he could go do that. But he said, I won't buy that. I wouldn't. Why would I buy a $200 million yacht when Disney sells all the time? And I don't have to own it. And I don't have to have the overhead. I don't have to have any of that kind of stuff. I can just pay a fee for right now. And oh, by the way, while I'm on the Disney cruise, I'm gonna make all that money back. Difference between the mentality. So I said all that to say, to get to this point. Uh, we reel about how Jews and those people who are business people own all the money, make all the money, and we've even made jokes about being about Jewing people. You know what I mean? But here's the way they look at money, and this is a very key piece and a very important piece if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because it's not how much money you make, it's how you make your money. And we get caught up in the how much we make. They get caught up in the how they make their money. And their philosophy on money is the more people I serve and serve well, the more money I make. We don't know how to serve. We know how to go after the money, but we don't know how to serve. When you're serving people, the money comes. When you're serving people well, your bank account reflects that you have served well. Get that in your spirit. When you can change first how you look at it, then you can grow your business. Because now people will follow you because what you're doing is picking people up instead of pushing people down. You're not lording over anybody because you don't employ anybody. You work with everybody. And when you don't employ anybody and you work with everybody, they don't mind you making money off of their efforts. Because what are they doing? They're getting paid too. And they're getting paid well. Because guess what? Systematically, the same thing that I'm doing, they can do too. Through 6 generations of people. But we don't have that mindset. We want to own a job. I've done that. I had the brick and mortar. I told you that. Had to lay off all the folks at 3.5 years. Some will work and some won't. You know, um, and so that's the very first thing. It changed my mindset about how I make money. It's because again, it's not how much I make, it's how I make it. The second part about how I make money Well, how about money that you need to change your mindset on is if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Once again, it's not how much you make; it's how much it makes later. Because we're called again, wealthy mentality versus the poverty mentality. Because if it's all about how much we make right now, and we're going to show everybody we make all of this money, we're gonna live in opulence. We're gonna have all these vehicles. We're gonna do. I got what I've had in here recently: 6 cars, 6 vehicles sitting in front of my house with the title on all of them. I've given cars away and I've sold cars. Well, I'm able to give them away because I didn't need them, and I can bless somebody else with it. But my point is this: um, what I'm doing now is just trying to leave legacy. So it's got your mindset about being an entrepreneur also has to be about what you leave, not what you have right now, not about how much you have right now, but what am I going to leave? Bible says leave an inheritance for your children's children. And here we go. They're gonna have to work and get their own stuff. Blah 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 blah. Okay, cool. Put them to work. You employ them in your business. Let them earn, but let them learn the lessons of earning through you because you model it the right way because you have the right mindset about money. Success will kill you, and it'll kill you financially. As a matter of fact, uh, when you're going well and things start to crumble, now you'll cheat to keep them from crumbling. You do. It never fails. Most people who get in trouble money wise, who are business owners, they get in trouble because their businesses were flourishing for a long time. And then all of a sudden, the walls start to cave in. Now you got to find the money. Now you got to maintain the lifestyle. Now you got to do all those kinds of things, which you cannot do because you're not making the same income. And you've not done with the income that you made what you needed to do. Proverb says, consider the ants who are always producing. Kill an ant pile in your yard. What happens the next day? 3 more ant piles are in your yard because all you did was kill that mound. You didn't kill the ants. So anyway, those are the two biggest pieces of advice that I would give. And you got to change your money mentality. And when you do that, then you can run successful businesses.
Wow. Wow. That was that was deep. That was a lot. That was great. Like I hope people are what were really listening to all the stuff that you said because you said a whole bunch of like hidden gems stuff that a lot of people that are in your position not even going to tell you. You know what I mean? Like they're not even going to help you think of other things or do anything. They're like, "Oh, just go do this." And not, not knowing what's behind doing this.
Yeah.
Man, this was probably one of the best episodes so far that I've had in a long time. And I already knew it was going to be like this because it's you, of course. And we always have a great conversation no matter whatever it is. That's another reason why I call you, and whenever you call me, I try to make sure that I can pick up that phone call because I've already knowing you're going to tell me something and you're going to give me a different perspective of looking at things. You know what I mean? It's okay to tell somebody something, but how about showing them a different way of looking at whatever it is that they're looking at. Not one time have I came to you with any question, any concern, anything that you was like, no, just do it like this. You're like, no, no, no. Think about it. What give me let me tell you something else. Let me give you something else to think about. You know what I mean? And for one, I thank you for that because again, you always come through and you always let me know something good. So, if the people want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
A couple of different ways. The I'm actually going to launch a website shortly. It's called P Squared Works. It's psquaredworks.org. It's my nonprofit website. It'll have all the links to get a hold of me. For my business, um, most uh, we don't advertise. I put it to you that way. And but I'm in the financial services distribution. My uh, email address is dwp411 at gmail. Reach out to me at any time. If you find me on Facebook at Darrell Porter on Facebook, or my one mission, that would be the one. My one Facebook.com/my one mission, all spelled out. That'll get you to my blog page where I blog about financial things. If you inbox me there, I'll respond. I don't check it all the time. I check my email more than anything else. I need to be better at social media. I'm not a big social media person. I ain't running and hiding from anybody, but it's just not my thing. Um, I need to be better at it, but I'm not, I've gotten to the age where it ain't that I can't learn something new, and it ain't that uh, I'm just stuck. It's just I don't want to. So that's the bottom line. It's not something I want to do. I spend enough time in front of the computer as it is. I ain't getting stuck out there, doing all that kind of stuff. But you can get me there. You can get me on LinkedIn. With my you searching by my name, Darrell Porter. That's Darrell, not not Darrell. It's Darrell. So get me at that on LinkedIn. I will respond to LinkedIn messages. Um, the uh, uh, the last thing that I'll tell you is that I do some what I think are some powerful workshops on how money works, getting your house in order, um, creating wealth from the inside out is another workshop, and I do those workshops for free. So get at me on LinkedIn, on Facebook at my one mission, all spelled out, and hit me up at my email address dwp411 at gmail, and
Man,
be glad to converse with you
man.
about what I do and how we do it.
Man, y'all don't understand. Like I talk to this man a lot. A lot. I've came to him with some issues and he's been like, "Oh, okay. Just think of it like this or do this or let me think about it and I'm gonna call you back." Man, and I always say thank you for all of that you've done for me and you are one of my mentors that I do listen to. Have to some of the time I don't want to hear, but you always tell me something that I'm supposed to hear and not what I want to hear. And I do appreciate you for that. And I want to thank you for being a guest. Um, this is going to be the long line of what I'm doing now. We got to have you back because I already know the people after they see this, they're going to be like, oh man, we got to have him back. I want to hear some more stuff and some more stories. So thank you again. We'll have you back. I want to thank everybody for listening and I'll see you on your next one. Peace.
Peace.